Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Belated Scenes, human being American and YouTuber Roman. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's episode of Live from Sparkwood 21. The series chronicles the 1990s cult classic television series Twin Peaks. Its prequel movie, Fire Walk with Me, its 25 years later sequel, The Return, all of the multimedia that surrounded the show, as well as the films of David Lynch. I'm going to start off by saying hello to everyone currently following along on X. I can't see you, but I know you're there. Say hello to a few people who joined us here in the live chat. My co-host on the Mystery Movie Night podcast, Enigma Severus. Faithful Blue Ridge channel member of the Bird Woman of YouTube. Watch out for her channel, Fluff and Ship Productions. It's kind of clear. My partner in crime, that toxic gunslinger himself, the man who cannot be killed, the CEO of the Outlaw Bill Sports Network, host and creator of After Hours Karaoke, Action Theater and Western Cinema presents Out to la Belle. Caesar. All right. Joining me on this Odyssey, the superfans, last call Trocelli.
Joining you on this Odyssey, not the woke
No,
mess that's coming out this weekend.
No, this is a better Odyssey.
There you go.
This is the better Odyssey, but sadly without Armando Sante. Troy's better half, Nevers Network.
Good evening.
And Flappy superfan, HB.
You know, I was dining on some Zaxby's tonight. They're chicken tenders, and I thought of Flappy.
Oh,
Oh wait,
Oh my gosh.
maybe that's not so good.
Yeah, that's kind of terrible. I noticed the meme that you just dropped in the Cosme. That's very appropriate to
Yes,
the stream. Yes.
because we have our bad seed character get introduced tonight, right?
Little Nicky, yeah, exactly. Nick Scratch.
Yeah, that's from the movie Problem Child. Yes, the great John Ritter was in that one.
Yes.
yes.
Can you imagine John Ritter in a David Lynch production? That would have been interesting.
Yeah, that would have been. You know what would have been maybe even scary would have been if instead of Ritter, what's his name? The one who played the Mask and Liar Liar and all that.
Oh, Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Can you imagine Jim Carrey in a David Lynch film? That would just be off the wall nuts.
That would have been incredible, actually. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, well.
Well, there you go. That's the show, guys.
Yeah, okay. I was waiting for someone. I thought you had more to say there, Boomer.
What happened? No, I'm just saying. I don't know. You want to do last week's recap? Cooper sort of let down Audrey Horne gently. It's basically an age gap. I think that's what it boils down to, right? With him and her. I think that's. Plus, he said when he gave his whole backstory about how he got someone he was in love with killed once. Remember? Because he was too distracted.
Yes, and honestly, so I'm kind of reading between the lines on this one. I definitely feel like Lynch was getting at I understand this is creepy. If a relationship were to happen here, and there was a lot of shipping going on, there really was. I think David was like, yeah, maybe this isn't really appropriate. And if it's not clear that it's inappropriate because she's a high school girl, there's an age difference, and she sees him as an authority figure, that alone is enough reasons for it to not happen. He's like, let me throw in some trauma on Cooper's side, where I am not going to get involved with somebody that is in any way involved in any of the cases that I do, because first, professional, B, because I fell in love, she got dead, and there's trauma that goes with that. I mean, that's actually a very compelling story. We tend to pick apart and be divided by storytelling decisions, like, for example, Man of Steel, the super neck snap. Well, he had no choice. No, the writer always had a choice. The writer makes the choice, and that's a situation he never should have put Superman in. And half of the people say blah, blah, blah. The other say the opposite. In this one, this was a narrative choice that everyone can go, okay, I see where you're going with this. And it's actually a very compelling story. A, it gives you more cover on the let's not put these two together, right? And B, he has no choice. He can't, the trauma, da-da-da. And actually, on a third level, I'd kind of like to see where this goes. And if this had gone a third and fourth season within the span of the TV series, the original run, is it possible by the end of the show that situations might have kept putting them back together again, where he started to go, well, gee, maybe there's something fated for the two of us to, and it very, very much feels like retroactively when we get to the return that maybe that was on Lynch and Frost's mind, that there was meant to be something there, but because of the way the show ended, because they had to end it the way they did, because of the external forces, whether you're talking Black Lodge in universe or Iger, outside universe, right? You have yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey, Brock. You have this corrupting force that says, yeah, they were fated to be together, but now it's not Cooper, it's Doppel Cooper, because of the influences of the darkness, whether in universe or out of universe. How's that for a meta storytelling?
It's a head. Yeah, it makes you think.
Well, and I'm telling you, this whole idea that Bob is Bob Iger, God bless you, Netter, is opening up a whole area of basically meta narrative for me. I find this a very compelling way to look at it.
The Weatherman. Was there a Weatherman in Twin Peaks that was a nefarious character? Maybe we would have seen one at the time gone on, maybe.
That would be interesting. On the one hand, in the White Lodge, you have the firemen. So, yeah, maybe Bob was the Weatherman. There you go. Enigma says, I'm sipping on decaf. Considering we're going to be looking at, we'll look at the meme that's 2 up from you. What are you doing drinking the Devil's Brew? Just saying. And hello, Big Al with Big Al Presents. Yes, we are going to have a great show tonight. Thank you.
That was one of the funniest episodes of Millennium where you got to see things from the demon's point of view. They did an episode, and the idea is the demons would show up as these old men, and they would go around doing things to regular people disguised as old men to really bother them. And one of the things he did, like he went into a donut shop, and the kid said, yeah, I want a coffee and an apple fritter. And he goes, well, the fritters are just coming out. They're too hot, and I just put a fresh pot on, but we have decaf. And he goes, kid, why would anyone in their right mind want decaf? And of course, you're supposed to not like the demon, but then you're sort of nodding your head. He has a point. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, look, I'm evil, but decaf is a whole other level here.
Yes.
Maybe that's what hell is. You get to hell, and every morning they offer you decaf coffee.
Oh man, my dad had a joke about hell and people on a coffee break. I'll tell it to you sometime. Okay.
I understand not having caffeine. You got to understand, I'm allergic to formaldehyde. I react very strongly to it. And unlike decaffeinated so-called, well, they're not decaffeinated. They are caffeine-free sodas, like, caffeine-free Coke. They don't use cola beans in cola anymore. So they don't have caffeine in them initially. They have to add caffeine chemically. Whereas coffee is absolutely made from coffee beans. So they have to take the caffeine out. That's why it's decaffeinated. And how do they do that? They filter it through formaldehyde. And there's always going to be trace quantities of formaldehyde in your decaffeinated coffee.
Interesting.
The more you know. But yeah, I always wondered why I used to get terrible migraines when I would drink decaffeinated coffee. And when I was in high school, during biology class, of course, you're exposed to, you do the dissections of the fetal pig and the frog and the so forth.
Right.
And I used to love the class. I used to love the exercise, but I would get this raging headache every single day. And the doctor told me, he goes, yeah, if you're having headaches specifically when you are doing those biology classes, it's because of the formaldehyde. You are allergic. And he says, do you get headaches when you drink decaffeinated coffee? And I said, yes. And he says, don't drink decaffeinated coffee. He said, either drink caffeinated coffee or drink something else that doesn't have caffeine in it. I said, okay. He told me I should hydrate more. Gee, where have I heard that before?
They always say that.
Yeah.
Drink plenty of fluids.
What was it you were reading today, Netter, about drinking more water?
Oh, yeah. It's like, so I read online that drinking more water is supposed to make you less fuzzy, more healthy. What I've been experiencing, pee.
Exactly.
And I can attest to that because I drank 5 bottles of water during my work time, and I'm on my 6th container of water right now.
I will go through a jag where I'm drinking like a half a gallon to a gallon of water in a day, and I pee so much. And it's annoying, but I also think, well, the other option is I don't pee so much and I get kidney stones, and I don't ever want to go through kidney stones again. So just saying. Wow, how did we get on that? You let the old folks talk, man. And this is and we start talking about these health related issues.
Speaking of old folks, we had 2 brothers getting into a bit of a fight during a post funeral thing.
Yeah, and on an unrelated, but what related to this, I have noticed that Mark Frost did, as he was writing his Secret History and the final dossier, it really did seem like he was looking at Twin Peaks, looking back on it with hindsight's 2020, and realizing that some things worked really well and some things not so well. So he kind of took the humorous things like the brothers arguing in the last episode and said, yeah, but there's a history there, and it's a serious history. It's funny to watch two old men arguing, but their history is actually a compelling story and pretty serious. We'll probably talk about that again when we get to the secret history of Twin Peaks again. But this relates specifically to this episode. The Evelyn Marsh story arc was extremely unpopular with fans, and as it turns out, with the creative team as well. James Marshall, who played, James, thought the plot line was ridiculous, but as a relatively inexperienced actor, he felt that he couldn't object to what the writers wanted. So in the tie-in books, that I just mentioned, Mark Frost, from the perspective of Agent Tammy Preston, described the events in universe as something out of a bad imitation of a James M. Cain crime novel. And if you don't know who James M. Cain is,
I would agree with that.
Double Indemnity and The Postman Always Rings Twice. So it's almost like Mark Frost saying, yeah, this is what we were going for, but didn't quite stick the landing. And I would argue in and of itself, that's not a problem, because I feel like the whole of Twin Peaks was somewhat of a noir sort of a shtick, a take on, almost parody of noir. But the way the Evelyn Marsh story is told is so detached from everything in Twin Peaks. It probably only works as well as it does because you have James leaving Twin Peaks in a very Jack Kerouac, kind of way on his motorcycle, almost like, hey guys, what if we were to do a James Hurley spin-off,
Well, I think, though, it adds that outside of Twin Peaks, there's still stuff that happens. And it may not be the paranormal stuff that we've seen in Twin Peaks, but it's other weirdness, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do feel like we definitely get much more of that. Whether that was the intent or not, it certainly led them to where they got to in The Return. And I believe Deleted brought this up during his initial watch through of The Return. And that's, I hated, I don't want to speak for you. Correct me if I'm wrong, Deleted, but I didn't care for that Evelyn Marsh story. But now when I see it in terms of The Return and I see, the darkness coming out of Twin Peaks, and it's kind of all over now, all these 30 years later. And maybe that's where we were seeing the early stages of that, right? And then, of course, that makes me fall back on Albert. Maybe that's what Bob is, the evil that men do. It's don't tell me that stuff like the Evelyn Marsh story didn't happen in real life. A guy, rich guy, abusing his wife and her cheating on him and, whatever, and so on and so forth. I mean, that's a story that goes back to the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
And
really Jumbo.
The other angle that fits in is if you look at Mulholland Drive as also being part of the Twin Peaks universe, and I guess by extension Inland Empire as well.
I would say so,
this
yes.
Storyline makes more sense. I feel that if you take that into account, then this storyline makes sense, because that feels like, okay, you are now, like you said, seeing the first effects of this darkness not only spreading through Twin Peaks but out as well.
And then, like you said, you get to The Return, and you've got New York and the glass box, and you've got the was it Las Vegas or Atlantic City? I forget, where you got the casino and everything, and the you're seeing corruption everywhere, right? And where does corruption come from? Well, and to be fair, when you get into the secret history of Twin Peaks and stuff, they go way back in the history of Twin Peaks, to the things that happened with Lewis and Clark and the Native Americans, and the previous several generations before we see Twin Peaks. The Packards and the Martells and the fire and all of this. There's been stuff going on in Twin Peaks for a long time. Obviously, the existence of the Bookhouse Boys references that. There's this darkness, and we are the Rangers. To use a phrase from Tolkien. Keeping an eye on and protecting the rest of the world from it. Hopefully you've got that. That's what religions are supposed to be. That's what secret societies are supposed to be all over the world throughout history, right? So anyway.
I do want to say hello to Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective. And you're welcome. I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer. Thank you. All right. I say without any further ado, we do have the Cosme link up. I know they're up in both of my chats, so I assume they're in everybody's rooms as well.
Yes.
Okay. This is the link for the Cosme. I do want to remind
the white of the eyes.
Yes. I do want. Yeah. Oh boy. Wait till we get back to that episode again. Oh, geez. Yeah. I do want to once again remind everybody to please kind of do their best to stay on topic and stuff like that, because we want the chat to be there, but we also don't want like YouTube or Cosme kicking you guys out. I think you're fine. So let's try to do our best to keep this on task. So, okay.
Okay.
I will. Do you have to refresh, or are you good?
I think I'm good.
Okay, let's go ahead and count this down. Masked Ball, episode 11. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
And as you know, when I saw the title last week, Masked Ball, my 12-year-old brain was thinking, something that happens in your pants. Until I realized, like a masquerade type ball.
You're like in Labyrinth, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. My mind would still go to balls on that one.
I have to live with him.
Yeah. Pity her. Pity her.
It seems so peaceful in this intro.
I know, right?
And it's like anything but. Now I'm wondering if Peggy Lipton is related to the Lipton family, the Lipton tea and Lipton soup. She an heiress that we don't know about?
Oh, no.
No, Peggy Lipton is not related to the founders or owners of Lipton Tea.
Okay.
And even the music kind of speaks to that kind of, 60s, road film type, Maverick.
See, if he was in Georgia, he'd be being pulled over about now.
Yeah, right.
What's your hurry, son? Why are your eyes dilated as he shines?
And where's
the,
your
flashlight?
and where's your helmet? Yeah.
Yeah. Got to take you in. Sorry, kid. David Duchovny.
Yeah, this was his first television appearance.
Interesting.
Yeah, he'd been in film before, but this is his first TV. And hail to Curtis Selby. Good to see you.
What are you going to do, James? You're going to go to another town and stop in the diner there? What's the point? It's all the same.
Yeah, see if the pie is any better than Norma's, right?
They would serve blueberry pie instead of cherry, right? That would throw us all off.
Right.
Sacrilege. As it turns out, yes. There's no earthly way of knowing
Yeah, exactly.
which direction we are going.
I wonder how she knows. Is he talking to sleep? Maybe.
Well, she could just deny any knowledge of it and just say, if I did know anything, and I'm not saying that I do, it would be classified.
This has happened before. That's what I'm getting from this.
Oh, yeah.
It's happened to the Major. It's happened to other people related to Project Blue Book. And part of his investigation, he had discovered it had happened to Margaret Lanterman and several others.
Yeah. Oh. We did that part, yeah.
I was going to say, well, we did storm the whorehouse.
We did that, yeah.
I just realized the actor that played the Mountie was the main villain in Death Wish 3.
Yes.
That felt like a fourth wall break.
Yeah.
Apple product. I see the Macintosh.
Yeah. Stop typing. Look at the size of that thing.
And yet it was state of the art.
I know. Ooh.
The hell are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. However, this is key. This is him really digging into the whole spiritual. There's more going on here, you know, in heaven and hell than your philosophy and so forth, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
I mean, I do feel like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity here. He would have said, I would have said, if I was in his situation, I'm a law enforcement officer. I believe in the law. And the law says a man is innocent until proven guilty. I defend that on a daily basis, and I expect the same respect from my superiors in law enforcement. If you have some proof I've done something illegal, by all means, bring those charges. But it is not my job to prove my innocence. That's not what the law says.
Good point. By the way, the frames in that police the police station office were ridiculous. They're logs.
Yeah.
That's carrying it too far. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. What's going on here, huh?
Oh, jeez. Lord. Poor guy.
There's a right way and a wrong way to look inside your dresser. Well, I suppose
Yeah.
that is true.
Yeah. Good point.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
The ambiguity of, is she screwing around or does she really believe this? You know, it's actually a kind of fun place to be because you can kind of interpret it either way, and either way is hysterical.
I think she's being genuine. That's always been my opinion. I think she bumped her head and now she's regressed to, or she took the drugs and now she's regressed to her high school stuff. I think that's who she is.
Yeah. Oh, I love that vet.
Wally's
hideout.
Nat McCarthy. Arthur, King of the Britons.
She's dangerous.
He's an idiot.
I didn't want to say it. I don't want to say James is so dumb, but it's like I think you're falling for the same type of woman, James.
You know what? I never made that connection, but you are 100% right. And isn't this the same tune that Bobby played in the first episode?
It might be.
Yeah.
Isn't this A Town Without Pity?
No, but it's similar. And I'm not even going
it's
to
a
talk
call.
about those stockings.
It's a callback, yeah. Meanwhile, Richard, Nicky boy. There's Damon.
I thought it would have been funny if little Nicky, when Andy introduced himself, instead of hello, he just burped or something. You know? Oh. You know what he's thinking? I don't have to pay at least, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, I got to admit, despite the fact that they're playing a game here, I mean, if I was Andy, I'd probably want to do the same thing because it's like, what the hell are you doing? You promised the kid, and then because no, that just won't.
Yeah,
stand.
that's a poor excuse for not taking him out.
Yeah.
Hawk knows something.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more, tell me more.
Yes.
Jiminy Christmas. Here we go.
Yeah.
They missed the opportunity for Deputy Hawk to make a pass at her by accident. Look at his face. I'm sorry.
Yeah. because up to this point,
Go ahead,
folks,
Dirk
you got to
face.
understand is that Dennis is also in the mentioned in the basically Cooper Diaries, right?
Right.
So there's been all of this. He's been built up to be kind of like a John Wayne, this badass, this going guns blazing kind of guy, right? And then he shows up in Twin Peaks, and oh, here we go.
I would think it's a different Dennis.
What happened in that time? Yeah. Oh, Lord.
She's easily doing 600.
Here's the coach.
Meanwhile,
all right, she's back.
Yeah. Movie. Wait, how many subplots do we have going right now?
How many femme fatales do we have going on this show right now?
Oh, yeah.
Well, keep in mind, being a femme fatale on this show is very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get the fatale part.
Yeah. You may not be around for much longer. Well, I mean, that's sweet. So I always got the impression that there was meant to be a kind of narrative parallel between Josie Packard and Laura Palmer. And you do see a lot of parallels in their backstories. One possible theory that I had the show continued would be that Bob would have been looking for another host. And that might have been Josie. There was also early concepts that the Judy mentioned in Fire Walk with Me was going to be her sister.
And hello, Nate.
Oh, hey, Nate.
No worries.
Hi,
no
Nate.
worries.
How's your wife doing?
Well, yeah, I don't blame you for taking a nap. You've had a rough couple days. It's kind of cool to see them together again.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh,
So bad. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, we had the whole mom turns out to be the critic thing. Yes.
Right.
He doesn't want to be involved in this, does he?
he does not.
No.
He was actually trying to turn over a new leaf.
He did say at one point that he was legit now.
Yes. I feel kind of bad for him.
I would say little Nicholas does not like him.
Do it.
That was funny. I don't see how that would happen, but it was funny.
I'm curious. Could that work now?
Still has some swelling, and her blood sugar is still a little high. Okay.
Okay. James, leave. Doesn't love me.
I mean, that is implied, right?
Do you think he was headed to Vegas?
He was on, I believe it was Route 96, they said? Yeah, Highway 96 near Portland, Oregon is where they're at. So he was heading east, not south or southeast. What's under your hood, baby? Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
He's not going to walk into that room at night and find her lying in the bed with lingerie, is he? Is this where this is going? I'm just.
You would expect that in a noir film. So that was a 1948 Jaguar.
Oh, look at this.
Yep. Thank you. And they do reference this in the Secret History of Twin Peaks.
So when your life has gotten very depressing and stressful, you look to the past to better times, right?
Right. I love the chrome-plated shovel, and I wonder if that's meant to be echoed by the shovels that Jacoby sells in The Return.
So it looks like, Ben was a little buck-toothed when he was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Unless his brother's the older one.
No, he's the older one.
His mind went there.
Of course it did.
It's a Jaguar. Yes, I get it.
Yes.
Back when they knew how to sell the car, unlike today.
Right. Good point. Oh, excellent point.
Now he's suggesting here that he hired Hank to take Catherine out in the fire, but we saw Leo set the fire. I'm getting a little bit of a disconnect here. Well, I mean, Leo putting Shelley in there, that was his own thing, but
Leo was setting
Yeah.
the fire, but it was his job to get Catherine there.
oh. Okay.
Remember, he made the phone call.
Mm.
Did past tense.
It might be better if he is out, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Ultimately, it's true.
Yeah, I don't work for you anymore. I peed a little.
Too much water?
Again, though, he might be better off in the long run with this this one particular out. But now he's snapped. Okay.
Yeah, he's not leaving the office for a while.
He probably needed Jerry there to cheer him up. This is not good. Wyndham Earl?
Yep.
I keep forgetting when all this was new. Were you very curious about Wyndham Earl, who he was?
Yes.
Yes.
And I did what I think Enigma and many others have done and gone to a Holmes Moriarty kind of a thing. And I think that's almost a bit reductionary when you really start looking into it. He borders on Joker.
Well, he's his nemesis. This is his Cooper's nemesis.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Oh, I half expected credits.
Meanwhile, first things first.
So we have Robin Lively being introduced in this episode along with David Duchovny. Both appeared in the X-Files together, an episode called Field Trip.
Field Trip?
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Look that one up. That wasn't one with the Amish type people, was it?
If I know. I never watched the X-Files.
X-File. I'm looking that up. I'll know what it is.
That's the one where they ended up in the forest with like the tree spirit thing. I might be wrong.
Oh, the 6th season. I have to get through the 6th season still. That's when it got rough. Okay. Whoa, those pants, dude. Dude, the groom's pants. That's a no-no.
Oh, God. Sorry.
You know what? Why can't you just be happy for him, huh?
I know.
I couldn't survive the heels. I can barely walk now.
Yeah.
I'm getting Ed Wood flashbacks now.
Yeah.
What? I thought he was going to say she stole my heart, but never mind.
Give us time, Becky.
Oh, thank you so much, Ruby Hoof. Very, very appreciate that. That went to Zeri SC. Thank you very much, Ruby.
Thank you, Mom. Pete's like, get me out of here, please.
Which is a nice thing to say, but why is she telling Pete?
I don't know.
Yeah, right?
You know what? Good for Andy, huh?
Yeah, right?
Meanwhile, hey, how many O'Hurleys do we have here anyway?
Fish don't blink.
Dread sequel?
Woof.
Roll over. I did.
That's actually not that
Creatures.
difficult. Right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ah! He's alive!
So this is Dan O'Harley.
O'Hurley.
He is the real life father of Gavin, who played the RCMP officer in the previous episode.
I almost think they should have done that part earlier and then done the Wyndham Earl thing at the end, and then gone to credits, right?
Yeah, either way could have been a good.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
I mean, I know it's a big reveal that he's alive, but still, you know.
This is interesting because this is a reprise of the film that Ben was watching, and actually the same altered version of the theme. This marks the first time they don't use the picture of Laura Palmer at the end, and in fact, the first time there is no visual representation of Cheryl Lee at all in an episode. So there you go.
Ben Horner was looking back to a time when he was happy. That's why he was watching those videos.
Right. And I think you're going to see this, especially in him. I think this there were two moments in today's episode that I think mark if not a crossroad, then a turning point in the ultimate course of a couple characters' lives. Ben, we see reevaluating things in his life because of what happened to his daughter, all the stuff that's gone on the past couple episodes, being accused of Laura's murder, which he didn't commit, but his daughter forced him to see that he did have a role in it, and in her fate and whatnot. He hasn't given enough consideration of his impact on other people's lives. And as he sees things spiraling, he looks back to a time at the beginning of when he was becoming part of something. He's now running this hotel, and he was there at the groundbreaking of the hotel, right? Back when he didn't have a care in the world, and how things had gone so differently, and maybe things should go differently from here. Dale, on the other hand, is showing that he is not so terribly concerned about how this investigation goes. He absolutely believes that he's going to be exonerated, but ultimately what it means for his professional life, he's a little bit less concerned about because he's starting to focus on a bigger picture, right? In theory, he doesn't have to be an FBI agent to do good in the world. He's already been exposed to that through the Bookhouse Boys and so forth. And maybe the greater good might be served by focusing on something larger, something not necessarily of this world, not an individual murder, but some spiritual element that is impacting all of society. I mean, that's some big brain thinking, but, we do see him starting down that path. And while he's conspicuous in his absence, part of the story is about Major Briggs going missing. He's actively involved in that bigger world situation. And we're seeing the groundwork of the Black Lodge, the White Lodge, and so forth, the spiritual battle that's going on outside of the so-called real world of Twin Peaks. So a lot going on here.
Yeah.
I would say, Nate, to that, how did Jesus respond to people that seem to be irredeemable? Right? You know, when a certain somebody was trying to do a service for him, and the people he was talking to said, if you knew who this person was, you wouldn't want anything to do with her. You know, basically saying she's you are the redeemer and she is irredeemable. And he's like, don't tell me who's irredeemable, right? Let he who's without sin cast the first stone. You know, that's the problem that people get into in spiritual situations. They tend to say, well, you know, I'm bad, I'm a sinner, but I'm not as bad as that guy over there. Well, what does Christ say to that? You know, you might want to remove the plank from your own eye before you start trying to remove the speck from someone else's eye. Let he who's without sin cast the first stone. Is there anyone here who is not sinned? Go ahead.
Going on this classic series, and I guess this is maybe the very tippy beginning of Ben Horn's, it hasn't quite started yet, redemption arc.
Yeah.
His redemption arc is odd on this first season because he's doing something that I think is right. He's coming clean by the end of the season, this season, but he's actually kind of causing more harm than good with what he's trying to do.
Right. So that gets into
yeah.
That gets into some other philosophical concepts. There's the zeal without wisdom, right? You know, and you see this happen with a lot of people that go through conversions in their life. You know, they become all sold out, you know, I'm going to do, and in so doing, they end up hurting a lot of people along the way. Christ talks about not being a stumbling block to your brother as well. So, yeah, it's great that you want to get your life in order, but don't, you know, grind someone else into the ground while you're, you know, trying to get yourself right, because by doing so, you may be preventing them from finding their way, you know? Yeah, but then I would say, Nate, if you're saying that there are people that are worse than you, which people are those? Judge not lest you be judged.
Well, he may be thinking about serial killers and things like that, which Ben Horn isn't. He's a corrupt man. Right. But maybe he'll see the error ways. I mean,
this is what I'm getting at with, again, talking about, and I'm coming at this from a Judeo-Christian, well, strictly Christian perspective. You could come at it from a Buddhist perspective or whatever. I'm just going with what I know. But, you know, what does Christ say about doing good deeds? He says your good deeds to God are like filthy rags. Now, you could dig into the translation on that, what he actually said in Greek. And filthy rags would be, well, let's just say they come from the same linguistic origin as she's on the rag. Okay. So in other words, your good deeds mean nothing to God, right?
So what he said to the
God
Pharisees,
judges, yes, because God judges the heart.
Right.
You know, you can't undo the evil in your life by doing good. The only way you can atone for that is sacrifice, and that sacrifice is blood. When they say the wages of sin is death, God means that. The only atonement for sin is death, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your death. It could be God's own death on a cross. See? So when you realize that God makes the sacrifice for you, that should be so humbling that you would never turn and point the finger at someone else in judgment, because judgment has been graced away from you. You don't respond to that with a holier than thou attitude, and that's what unfortunately too many Christians fall into.
But I have this question though. At this time though, and I'm trying to think of myself back on this show, Benjamin Horn. I mean, I'm getting back to the end of this season, but I thought when Doc knocks him out, fans were predicting he was going to go back to his old ways and be bad Horn again. Now
Right.
we see on the return he actually does it, or maybe he did and he had to come back and had a relapse. Then maybe he came back, but he is a changed man by the time we see him in the return.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he
absolutely.
has a proposition happen, and he could have very easily taken this woman up to him, but he doesn't because she's got a husband at home with the cancer. He's like, I'm not doing this, and it's like
Exactly.
the old horn would have jumped at the opportunity. Old horn
Right.
would have probably tried seducing her to begin with, and when he's being approached,
Yeah.
he's like, no, because I'm not this. I don't want to be this man anymore. Okay,
And
so yeah,
and for all the storytelling that we do, the anti-heroes and this and that, this is moral relativism, right? You look at someone like Ben Horn, and even when he's trying to be good, he definitely falls short. He's, and look, go to the other side of it, right? The good character, Dale Cooper. Well, you realize he's got some major flaws in his background too. He had an affair with a married woman that resulted in her death, and the insanity of his partner. All the evil you see in Wyndham Earl that's coming up, Dale kind of contributed to that, right?
but
It's kind of like that whole Batman Joker. Oh, I made you. You have to say you made, or you made me. I made you. It's, well, yes.
But Cooper also did love her. I mean, it's still wrong what he did, but he did love her.
Exactly.
And that's what makes it complicated.
Yes. Well, it's not complicated. That kind of love is corrupting. When you know the good you ought to do and you don't do it, that is sin as well.
No, I understand. He made a mistake. I mean,
and again, that's being the stumbling block to your brother, or in this case, sister, right? Because he helped lead her astray. Now, yes, there was a situation there, an unhealthy situation, a marriage she needed to get out of, but it was not appropriate for her to get out of it in that way, because ultimately she ended up getting out of it in the till death do us part way.
Yes. Well, there are vows. You're right. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But
anyway, when you get to season 3,
mm-hmm.
looking back on what you're saying, Troy, I'm kind of getting the sense of the parents being visited upon the children.
Right. Oh, yes, absolutely.
I'm starting to think a lot of that now. Yeah. Because you see where Gersten ends up, and you see how Rebecca Briggs ends up, and
And the last episode, we saw the seeds of his realization of that. Nate is castigating him about selling women into prostitution, and suddenly he got a splash of cold ice water when he realized, I almost accidentally did it to my daughter. And that's a huge wake up call.
Now I'm thinking it's like Lex Luthor. Can Lex Luthor be reformed? Which I guess in All-Star Superman, I guess he sort of is at the end, actually.
There's actually a lot of stories, speculative future stories where Lex, because let's face it, he's the kind whose obsession is what's, it's that whole idea, if you could just funnel that genius into good, right? And he's an intelligent guy. He is the type of villain that you could almost see as being capable of making a decision and saying, boy, yeah, I realize that everything I want to do, I'm completely, ruining because of my obsession with the Kryptonian. I want to save humanity from, this and that and Interstellar, and, he's a corrupting influence in my opinion, and so on and so forth. And yet I'm making everything worse. I'm literally working at a cross purpose. There have been a number of Elseworlds that suggested, what if Lex Luthor and Superman teamed up? And what a wonderful world it could be, right?
Yes.
In fact, there's a great I guess now retroactively we would call it an Elseworld, where Superboy, the history alters where Superboy is killed or disappears from reality at a young age, and before Lex Luthor, turns evil or whatever, and he becomes the Force, trying to save the Earth from the. So imagine the Richard Donner, Lester, Superman 2. The three Phantom Zone villains show up, and there is no Superman to stop them. And so Lex Luthor has to use all of his science to stop them instead of siding with them. That's basically what that story, and that story had long repercussions on the multiverse and the post-crisis world. That's I'm very much off topic, and I can't do that because I got to get going. Right. But this was a great morality play that we just discussed here, and I want to thank you guys. I'll be back for next week, but right now I got to get to my stream to do a little more Sherlock Holmes. So I'll see you guys over there.
See you there.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, in fact, we do have to get everyone over there to Troy's channel for the next episode, the part 1 of the Case Book of Sherlock Holmes. And this is a story entitled The Last Vampire. And it's, if you think about it, it's kind of a detective against detective. Because the main guest star of this episode is an actor by the name of Roy Marsden. And he was very well known at the time for another PBS series, which of course was Adam Dalgliesh. He was the OG Adam Dalgliesh. So, yes, very, very interesting episode. Very different character for him. Indeed. So, really looking forward to revisiting this episode. All right.
Cool.
So, Boomer, what do you have coming up?
Oh, coming up, I have, let's see. Friday I'll be on Last Call with Troy, and then Geeky Geezers again on Sunday at, yeah. So, yeah, be sure to tune in. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Mm-hmm.
Right on. All right. As for myself, I know those of you who were expecting Aliens earlier today on Action Theater, Bill and I had to push that back a couple of days. Real life intruded, but we will be doing that episode this Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So join us there. Tomorrow, if all goes to plan, I will be joining Pop Culture Minefield as he continues his Arnold Schwarzenegger week with The Last Stand. There'll be a discussion about that. And then that'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern. And right after that, I'm going to be joining Pacific 414 for his Sam Neill retrospective and watch party for Jurassic Park. So join us for that.
Great.
Yes, Thursday. Of course, like I said, Aliens at 6:30. And of course at 10 p.m. Netter with Thursday Things. And right after that, my program, Coming Attractions. We get to find out what I'm going to be doing next week, up to and including my appearance this Saturday night at 10 p.m. on Films with Friends, hosted by Big Al Presents. I'm going to be guest hosting along with Troy and Netter, and we're going to be watching Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
It's a good one.
But the cast that includes, of course, Kenny Baker, David Rappaport, Sean Connery, and Mr. Thomas Eckert himself, David Warner, as the devil, basically.
Well,
so,
no, as evil, just
evil.
the personification
Yeah.
of evil. Yes.
So,
he has the best lines in that movie.
he does.
He does. I mean, there's a lot of good lines in that movie, but he has the best ones.
And of
And
course,
John Cleese's Robin Hood.
Oh, yes, John Cleese's Robin Hood, indeed. Yes, mustn't forget that. And, of course, later on in the weekend will be my program, Unscripted. I do have a topic, but I don't have the link up yet. So, gotta do a little bit of research behind the scenes on a couple of things, because it's going to be a bit of a touchy subject. But, yeah, something that I've been looking into the last couple of weeks that I think should be talked about a little bit more than it has been. So that'll be Unscripted, 8 p.m. on Sunday. Of course, Geeky Geezers, as Boomer said, at 9 p.m. Earlier that day, however, at about 4:30, will be Western Cinema Presents, hosted by Outlaw Bill and myself. And it looks like we're going to be doing the first 2 episodes of 1923.
Okay, cool.
We're going to continue down the Yellowstone path. We're going to do 1923 next. So.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And, of course, reserved seats. I don't have a guest yet. Looking into a couple of possibilities. So if they don't work out, I can always do a member stream. So
cool.
I'm due for one of those anyway. All right. So, Boomer, any last words before we wrap the show?
Nothing. Just you know what? We don't judge you here. Have whatever kind of pie you like, but cherry is also recommended.
Indeed. And as I always say at the end of every broadcast, thank you all very much for joining us. Hope that you enjoy the show, and we will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. From HQ, the corner of Sparkwood and 21, and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night, take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.